Okay, we have gone over a few things already in Wix. We have looked at menus and pages. We have looked at backgrounds. We have looked at some of the features of the add button here, such as gallery. We have also looked at templates, how to choose them, and that starting with a blank template is probably harder, but probably more advantageous to you because you'll learn more. So here we are on the add button and a blank template. Now, primarily what Wix does is it uses widgets. So we are going through this, and when I click on any of these buttons, and the emphasis today is actually on the add button, which is a huge part of this menu. And this is where a lot of our stuff can be added from. What you need to know about Wix, though, is it is a widget-based program. So when I add something, it's kind of meaning it's a widget already predetermined. So, for example, just to give you an idea, I'm going to use a welcome strip. Now, strips are sections. And when I add strips, they just add on top of each other, push the other one down or up, depending where I put the strip. If I double click it, it'll add to the site and put it in its own place. If I click and drag it, I can drag it right onto the page. So for example, we'll start on a beginning strip, and I'll just drag it to the top of my site. And there we go, we have a strip. So that's a widget. Now, it's a placeholder kind of idea. Now, I can change the strip background here. The other thing to know about Wix, aside from the widget, is everything can be edited. So when I change the strip background, I can click on that, and I get a whole bunch of options. I can change what it looks like. I can, add different things here, as you can see. Maybe it's water that I want. It's kind of nice. Avocado. And the font here can be adjusted as well. So I'm looking at the strip background right now. But if I chose one I really, really liked and the font wasn't the best, I can come over here and I can edit the text, just like I can edit everything else on Wix. So maybe the color needs to be changed to something that stands out better. Maybe it's the stylized, highlighted version of it that needs to stand out better, the type of text, the heading type, the font type. Everything can be edited. So in this case, I'm going to go back to editing the strip and choose a better background. Kind of like that water, so we'll leave it there. And that's our first step. So using strips, I can add about, contact, services, team, testimonial. And then classic is basically a throwback to what strips used to be, kind of like banners, they used to call them on old websites. But in this case, I'm going to avoid classic because I just don't think it looks great. So let's click on testimonials and have a look at what they say, how they look. There's a few options, not a ton, but a few. So I'm going to just add this one, meet the team. I'm going to double click it. When I double click it, it puts it below the top strip. So again, I'm going to go back. I want a welcome page, but I want it above this strip. And I believe we chose that, sorry. I'm going to choose a services page and put it below the second strip. And the way I would do that easily, I just look for one that fits the color theme, maybe this one here, and I double click. And now it's below there. And we have 3 strips, and I keep going. Maybe I'd like to set up a strip for we've done team, we've done services, and we'll go to testimonial now maybe. And we'll find, I like this format here, testimonials. And what else do we have for strips? We have services we've added, we have welcome, and we need contact. So let's do a get in touch. Find the one that works. There we go. And there we go. So we have added a number of strips. Now, I have no menu at the top. So what would I do next? I would add a menu. And I come down here to menu. And I have a number of menu types. All of them are different, obviously, and quite unique. I have menus that I believe I'm on vertical menus here, horizontal menus, themed menus. So things happen here. You'd have to pick what you choose, what you like, and add it. This will appear at the top of your page. Keep that in mind. So I am going to look up here, and I'm thinking about something like this. So when I double click it, I put my menu here. I'm going to drag it up actually into the header and attach to the header. There's my menu. So there's a home page. After that, I think what I'd like to do is have this title. I don't really need to add a title, but if you wanted to add text, you would go here to text under add, and you'd be able to choose a number of different headings, big title, big cap, huge title, you know, whatever you're interested in, whatever style of font you want. It's all found here. Paragraph. If I want to put a little blurb here under the joint, I could literally drag a paragraph over, right? Change the font style, give people a little intro maybe to the site. And again, I click on that option, I edit the text, and I'm instantly in here to change color. And that makes it easy. So we will maybe choose white. And now I want the font to be a little bit larger. Maybe I'll just increase the size. Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe I want to change the font style to writing. Maybe I want to change the font style to pretty much anything I can do. So I can choose anything here. Maybe I'll just make it a little bit more classy. And maybe I'll center it. So all the regular word formatting features are found here. Okay. And there we go. We have a front page starting to look like something anyway. Now, how do I get all the way down here and back up here? I use something called anchors. So in order to navigate on a single scrolling page website, I would add an anchor. Now, the other way you could do this, obviously, is you can add a page and just make new pages and people move through different pages. What we're interested here is adding an anchor. So I'm going to come down and we are going to look for, it's under buttons here. Oh, maybe not quite under buttons, sorry. We are going to look for our anchor to add. I've just got to remember where it is, under menu. There we go. And anchors. And this is an anchor here. So when I grab one and drag it over, what that will look like is kind of like similar to this green. And I'll click it over here and it's called anchor 1. Now, like I said, everything can be adjusted. So I'm going to say home. And now it's home. When I go back to add another anchor, I'm going to add one above meet the team. And I'll adjust that and call it meet the team. Come down even further, grab another anchor, drag it over, plop it on top. And we are now at services. I'll click that and type services. Oops. And our next section was testimonials. So back into anchors, drag the anchor over, and we'll call this one testimonial. And I believe this is our last section that we added so far. It's called Contact Us. And we will add the anchor above there, and we will call it Contact Us. Okay, so I've set up my anchors, and now I want to link to them. The way I do that is I go up to Menus and Pages, and I say Add a Link. I choose Anchor. I choose the link I'm looking for, and I say Done. And now I call this one Home. And it brings me to the front page. Now, another anchor. And which one's next is Meet the Team. Done. So what we're doing is, these are like hyperlinks inside Word documents sort of idea. I'm connecting a link at the top of my page to a place on my scrolling website page. Next one is services, so anchor again. And the more sections you have, the more practice you get, so add away. Services, done. And our next one is testimonials, anchor, and we're going to say testimonial, done. And the next one is contact us. So see how it's scrolling me down? It's bringing me to the section I just anchored, but it's also bringing me to the next one, which is helpful. And contact us, and done. And call that contact us. Done. Okay, we get out of here, and we scroll back up, and we can now see that I have a number of what appear to be pages. So I probably don't need the home anchor because there it is as our top page. And I'm just dragging this and dropping it. Like I said, you can change anything. So one thing I should mention here is I can manage the menu. Now the menu brings me to here. I can also manage the design of the menu. And I can choose different menus. I can come over here and add animation. I can change the way it laid out. I can change navigation, etc., etc. I can customize the design. So when I customize the design, I can choose border options for my menu. I can choose background fills and change the color. So I can make it gray. I can make it pink, purple, whatever I want. I can change the transparency. This means that it's less opaque and it's almost see-through. So I can make it an interesting kind of combination. And I can add a color. When I add a color, I can actually get closer to my my color of my strip below it, and maybe give myself a little bit of a turquoise-ish look. And we keep going that way. And I can say add. And now I've got a little bit of a tie-in to my menu. The border around the menus can be adjusted too, I should say. Design, and I will go to custom design again. And maybe the border, I don't want a black border. Maybe I want no border. Maybe I want the border to be white. And I can say white. And we come off there. I have nothing but an outline. So everything's adjustable here, guys. We can even pull that over. I can stretch this the whole length of my site. I can put it all the way across the top, but that's not the purpose of this demonstration. So right now we have anchors. We want to see how they work. I suddenly have a menu I didn't have before. I am going to just delete the home anchor because obviously we don't need it. And I'm going to go back to menus and pages. And I'm just going to delete this guy because we don't need it. There we go. Okay, so order. That's important too. We can drag and drop these, as you know, into the right order. So we were at contact us. This should be something we do before we check out what we've done. We have meet the team. Under meet the team, we have services. And above meet the team, we have home. Okay. So now my menu has changed corresponding to my order. When I hit preview, I now have a working functional website here. I haven't edited anything or added anything yet, but I've made it navigable. So here we go. Meet the team. Down we go. And services. Services. Down we go. Testimonial. Down we go. And lastly, contact us all the way down. So I can custom add stuff too, and I can add anchors above those things as well. For example, if I come down to the bottom, I can adjust page height by dragging this down, give myself some more room. And maybe below my last one, I want to add pretty much anything in here. I could add a gallery. I could add videos and music. I could add menu options. I can embed some customized CSS or HTML. If I add a blog, a store, bookings, they do appear on separate pages and often become part of my menu. So keep that in mind. Some of these features automatically will add to a different page. In this case, I'm just going to come up and I'm going to look at video and music. And I'm just going to add a plugin, single video player, maybe. They look kind of nice here. Maybe I'm doing a grid. I'll drag it down, leave a little room, give it time to load. And there we go. We've got another section below. And of course, because I'm way down here, I want to add that anchor for this section as well, just above it. Double click and call it videos. Sure. So the reason I'm showing you this option is you can add custom sections. You don't have to just use what was available under strip. You can go down on the add button and add almost anything on here to your main page and continue to scroll down. So just before we go out to the next step, I should say, I'm going to add that link to that new anchor that I created myself, and it is called videos, and I will say done, and it puts it at the top. So don't forget when you're done to drag it to the bottom. Now, if one of these items you wanted to appear underneath another one, you would simply grab it and pull it in. That makes it a submenu of testimonial. So when I go up to my menu, I actually now have Contact Us under testimonial as opposed to having its own tab. That would be on a multi-page website with drop-down menus. That would be one of the options you want to use. Now, if I get to the bottom, the real question is, how do I get back up? And that, again, is back to our add button, our add section, I should say, and we're going to use button. In this case, I'm going to find a relatively, aesthetically pleasing button, nothing too wild because some of them are pretty crazy. Find one that works for the section. Find one that works for the website, and I'm going to start loading one of these on, just like that. So I'm at the top of my last section, and it says back to top. Now, when I right-click on that, I can say link, and I can say top or bottom, and I can say top. Done. Now that links to the top. The only other thing, though, is that it's a black button on a fairly white site. So I want to change that to make it more aesthetically pleasing. I might customize design, and I will go to my background fill, and I would change this color here to a color that is a little more aesthetic. Now, if I choose white, I can't see anything. So I would probably customize it similar to the color I used at the top. And again, I might change the opacity. Now, my letters need a little bit of work too because they're a little bit different. I should add that I can add a gradient here and a picture instead. There's so many things you can change on Wix in every section. So let's go to text. We're going to say yes to, show the text. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so I can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to change the text color to maybe just a little bit of an off-white, something that matches a little bit better to my site. I mean, I could choose gray right now. Easy. Probably the better option. Maybe bold it. And now we have a back to top button. So that's linked to above. Now I need a few more. So I'm going to copy and paste and paste and paste. I did that by clicking Control V. I could simply click on one of these boxes and copy it here. But Control V and Control C, just like in word processing and every other computer program you're using, absolutely you can do this and drag and drop it. So I'm going to bring that up here, make sure it's centered. As you can see, the lines appear. The pink line appears when I'm center. And you want to follow that guide so that you keep things symmetrical. There's my other one. And in this case, I might have to change something, or I might have to just move this down. Stretch that one, sorry, move the bottom one down. Give myself a little bit room for back to the top. That's between the two sections. Same with this. Drag this one down. Give a little bit of room for that button in between. Make sure it's centered. Again, here, make sure that's centered. And bring it up. Now, I made a few more of those down here, so I probably will delete one and make sure that I can drag this down. Make sure that's visible and center. come up to my last one, drag this section down first, make a copy of that guy, Control C, Control V, drag it up, get it in place, get it centered, and we're all set. Maybe just above Meet the Team. Probably don't need one there, but I could because I'm at the top anyway. So let's go back to preview and see how that worked out. When I go up to the top, I click on Meet the Team, and I can go back to the top. When I go to Services, I can go back to the top. When I go to Testimonial, I can go back to the top. And when I go to Contact Us, I can go back to the top. And when I go to Video, that one's a little high, I can go back to the top. So the one change I would make is just to lower the one by videos just a little bit high. And we'll just drag it down a tiny bit so we can see it when the page loads. Or I can shrink that video section, drag it down, make it a little bit smaller. And drag that up a little bit. So that is how to use anchors and create a one-page scrolling strip site, and primarily how to use many of these different things on here. There are boxes I can add for any particular reason you want to. Hover boxes, for instance. Shop Now, About Me. You can link these to different pages. So if I was to add something like Shop Now or About Me, I might link it to a separate page and have a biography, or the Shop Now to a store page. Lists and grids. Again, I can add stuff like this. Just drag and drop these kinds of things in. I don't want to do it now. You get the idea. You drag and drop. Well, I just did it, so I will delete that. But the other ways you can kind of think about this is, and I just click delete. The other way you can think about this is double click and, adjust it that way. Move it where you wish. Then I'll hit delete. I get a handle on it. Okay. And other features, video music, contact forms. We don't actually have one of those added. I do have it here actually over on the side on the Contact Us is a three button thing. So lots of things you can add here, lots of variation. One thing to remember is that it's widget based. The other thing to remember about Wix is that you can edit everything. So even these strips here, I can grab them. I can manage columns, for example. When I click on it, I can change columns. I'm on column 2. I can add a 4th column. I can move right or left. I can move this around. So I can move this one to the left and have Buy Now. I can move it to the right. I can change the nature of the other 2 columns, etc., and add a 4th column if I want. So everything is editable. This picture I can change. This font I can change. This social bar I can change. This paragraph I can change. The background of this column I can change. So keep in mind that you can do almost anything with anything you add. One more add you should be aware of is social. Some of these are nice and clean and sharp looking, so I'd encourage you to find a spot for them, add them, and when you're using social, you can set social links there. That would be adding your own information. If you're just doing this for a project and you don't want to, I would leave it. And you can just leave it where it is, bring it to front, change the layout, animate, stretch it. I'll go into layout here, spacing, etc. And if you wanted to do it vertically, you can do it vertically. So keep that in mind for different sites, different styles. And that becomes, an access point for customers or visitors to reach you, obviously. So it's useful on the site. You could put it underneath your menu. There's all sorts of variations. And just to give you an idea of what happens when I do click one of these, I would ask you to have a look at these, if you're interested. But there's event bookings, there's members area, there's my designs. It will make a link to it on the first page, but it will make a new page. So if I was to do a store, or let's say a blog, and I say add to site. You'll see blog now as a page up here, and it'll bring me to that page immediately, and it'll ask me to create my blog. So here are predetermined blog posts. I can click on them to open them, and it opens it right up. I can edit them, I can delete them, change them, and it's going to bring me in here to my dashboard to play around with the publish site. So like I said, I can revert to draft, I can move these to trash, I can create a new post. So it's done inside here in your dashboard area, and then back to your site. It inputs back on your site. And that's basically how to start a blog page on your site here and how to edit it. Keep that in mind too. And another one that would create a new page or generate a new page is usually the storefront, bookings. They all work the same way. But generally, that is a very demonstrative way of using our add button and all the multitude of things I can do with it. Everything on here has gigantic options all throughout. So there's decorative. We didn't even look at decorative, and here it is. Horizontal lines, arrows, themes, my lines, video box, video mask, transparent video, etc., gallery, interactive strips. These are interesting, something you might want to think about. You drag this over, you can drop it. The customer can scroll left and right and interact with the content. It's usually animated. And the list goes on. Play around with it. Use the add button at your whim. It is the primary button that of this menu that you're going to be interacting with to build your Wix site. An excellent button full of great tools. Again, I suggest that you start with a blank template. You call it the sandbox. You get in there, you do as much creativity as you can. Play around with all these buttons. Do it without having a clue. See what you can learn. See you next time.